قد جاب خواطرنا حلم يطويه تخرجنا، أيام الجد قضيناها وهنا الإنجاز يسامرنا. فرح قد جاب خواطرنا حلم يطويه تخرجنا، أيام الجد قضيناها وهنا الإنجاز يسامرنا. وعبير الأفراح ترات ومنانا اليوم يعانقنا، طياب مدارسنا بذلت للعلم جهودا.
Yes, this is the Global Business Roundtable, 8th Annual World Congress, which include trade and investment summits. We host it annually. We've been hosting it for the past 7 years. This is our 8th year, and we host it here in South Africa. Just to give you a background about the Global Business Roundtable, we started here in South Africa, and we have more than 200 branches in South Africa alone, and we are in 47 countries in Africa. And 80 countries around the globe. So we are a global organization that has grown fast in Asia, Middle East, Europe, Americas. And the reason why we host this conference annually, we bring together all our members from around the world once a year for these kinds of conference, which focuses on business, exclusively business. The first day, like today, the focus is on small and medium-sized businesses, trying to help them about all the information they need in terms of procurement opportunities, access to finance, access to incubation services, and access to mentorship, and access to whatever opportunities they need, funding. So we have, as you've seen in the conference, all stakeholders that are involved in SMMEs in South Africa and across the continent, and actually even across the globe. In South Africa in particular, you've got CIFA here, you've got SIDA, you've got the Small Business Development Department, you've got Economic Development Department, you've got DTI, you've got all agencies that support businesses, and you've got financial institutions. The NEF is here, they've just spoken, and a couple of others. IDC is here, DBSA is here. So all of them are here to support businesses that are looking for funding and for opportunities. So the fact that they are here for a week, it makes it easy for SMEs to access them. Normally, people try and set up appointments and they struggle to get through. So what we've tried to do was to say, we can bring the people to you in a conference, then you can access them over the week. And along the side of the conference, I'm sure you've seen, there's exhibitions that are taking place for people to promote their products, their services, and amongst each other, and they get to sell, they get joint ventures, they also get export opportunities, because we're speaking here about the global conference. And you want to sell your products to Swaziland, to Lesotho, to Botswana, to Nigeria, to Mozambique, to Kenya. They are here. So you are able to get orders, and so that you can export to your markets, especially those SMMEs that have evolved to another level. But we also have sessions that deal with entrepreneurship training. Today, how do you actually develop yourself as an SME to a level where you not just become a survivalist, you remain small? How do you ascend to a level where you can employ more people, you can grow to be a medium size and to be a corporate? Because everybody starts small, but you don't want to stay and remain small. So this is a platform for that that we've created as the Global Business Roundtable. From tomorrow and Wednesday, we're focusing now on big business. These are trade and investment summits, starting with Africa, Europe, and Africa, Asia, because we've got our leaders and business people from Asia and Europe who are here, and they want to explore how they can do businesses together, how we can do business as these regions. And the opportunities available for European countries in Africa, for partnerships, for joint ventures, for funding, for setting up businesses here, and so that they can contribute to the growth of the economy and create jobs that are needed. And on Thursday, the focus is on Africa Americas and Africa, meaning facilitating trade and investment opportunities within Africa, to ensure that we increase the volume of trade between African countries and African business people. And then on Friday, we wrap up with the general conference. And as you know, our theme is Africa, the next frontier for economic development. So the whole focus is on Africa, positioning Africa to be in the mainstream of economic development, and looking also in the issues of the next industrial revolution, and many other things that affect how we can beneficiate Africa resources to benefit the people in the continent. So, and not export raw material and then and get back finished products which are expensive for us. So those are the kinds of things that we're exploiting. We wrap our conference with a gala dinner on Friday evening, which is a gala dinner for, we call it the Global Fund for Jesus Gala Dinner, because we are raising funds for the poor, focusing on the projects that we believe God would do for people who are needy, who are unemployed, orphans, widows, shelters. So those are the things that we'll be doing. What we do at the Global Business Roundtable, the opportunities that are available here are available to all. You've got lots of women entrepreneurs. You've got a lot of people who come from previously disadvantaged backgrounds, and a lot of young people, youth entrepreneurs, and people with disability. We have them at the Global Business Roundtable. For instance, just speaking about women, we hosted a conference on women on the 5th of August last year here at Convention Center. There were 1,200 women. We're focusing exclusively on opportunities for women in business, in the public sector, in the ministry, and in different kinds of sectors. So it was a powerful, dedicated specifically for women. Also, annually, we've got programs designated for young people, young professionals, young business people, and even students at universities. GBR has chapters in more than 70 universities across Africa. So the youth is our passion, because they are the next generation. So we have to develop those leaders now so that they're able to lead, and with a holistic approach to the solutions that are needed by the world. We're still building. We are a young organization. We may be in 80 countries, but we are 8 years old. And that's the reality. So you need to have your foundation strong. And in the future, we do intend to rotate these events to Durban, Cape Town. We'll allow them to bid. And whoever gives us a better deal, we'll take them there, because we know that they attract investments in the area where they are hosted. They attract tourism. They attract, all these hotels here are booked full of our delegates. So it's good for the country, and it's good for whatever city that hosts them.
Okay. Another question is that in terms of entrepreneurial education and inculcating the culture of entrepreneurship younger at a school level, what do you foresee that requires to be done by the private sector to bring the presence of entrepreneurship earlier in school, or that you would do as a brand, so that the children rather begin entrepreneurship journey much earlier and understand entrepreneurship?
It is our plan to take entrepreneurship to schools, because we believe they're born entrepreneurs. They're people, they just need skills to be harnessed. And we also believe that the system of education currently does not provide the solutions, all the solutions that are needed. People are being trained to look for jobs. They're not being trained to create jobs, trained to start their own businesses. We have lobbied government a number of times, ministries, to say, please include entrepreneurship education. We strongly believe that the nature of Africa and the continent will change if we invest a lot in training and developing people to start their own businesses. Even if it's included as I believe many people will choose that, because there's that innate thing of people wanting to own their things, to start their own businesses. But we need to create that appetite by training them young. What we're doing as a global business school, you'll see we've got a global business school of entrepreneurship that we've established that is designed to help business people.
Is it free of cost?
No, it's not free of cost, because you have to pay the people that are training, that provide the material. So in any event, you will not value anything that you get for free. So it's very, very important that you invest in your own development.
فرح قد جاب خواطرنا حلم يطويه تخرجنا أيام الجد قضيناها وهنا الإنجاز يسامرنا فرح قد جاب خواطرنا حلم يطويه تخرجنا أيام الجد قضيناها وهنا الإنجاز يسامرنا فرح قد.
We have introduced a central procurement system which is driven by National Treasury to try and deal with that. Of course, from time to time you will have challenges wherein a system gets manipulated by individuals with ulterior motives. But in the main, the system we've put in place are working, and we're quite certain that the system that has been introduced will, to some extent, assist in curbing out corruption. Well, I think the economic challenges that we faced as a country globally also affected South Africa and SMEs in particular. We must also understand that small businesses generally, they face problems that, you can start 10 of them. Out of the 10, you'll find 3 that survives. The other 7 have collapsed because they go into an environment that is, by its nature, competitive. A capitalist system is a system of competition. And if you start being a small business, you go into an environment where you have established companies that have got enough muscles money-wise, and they are able to beat prices or to sell goods at reduced prices. And those who are new entrants, they don't have the capacity to sell to cut their prices, otherwise they will collapse. I think it is that environment that is competitive which kills small businesses. I was confronted by one business person, a lady, who said that she went to an incubation center which misled her, and she lost almost 100,000. So you will have those instances, but in the main, the incubations that we say must be established, they must be there to capacitate small businesses to be able to survive. The reason why many small businesses collapse is because they enter into the system, but they don't have the necessary expertise and the necessary understanding of how the business world works. The incubation is to ensure that we create a platform to capacitate business people. There will be, of course, instances where people are not necessarily given the correct advice, and as a consequence of that, they can lose money, like the lady who confronted me because she claims that she was given wrong advice by an incubation facility. But as she was discussing, you could also pick up that the pace at which she was given assistance was very slow, to an extent that by the time she graduated, the opportunity was gone. Because opportunities don't stand idle waiting for a business person to come. If you don't respond, they will pass you. So we need to develop a system that enables entrepreneurs to come and get the necessary assistance. If it's training, the training must be designed in such a manner that the business person who has an opportunity with him or her mustn't go into a permanent training program. By the time they exit, the opportunity is gone. So the training and ensuring that the opportunity is still there must talk to each other. Our approach is that you don't need to know me or any other employee of government for you to get the services. We are going to work with local municipalities, because you see, small business doesn't happen at a national level. It happens at a local community. And these local communities, they are in municipalities, and we have what we call LEDs in our municipalities, councillors who are responsible for specific community in the form of a ward councillor. So in such an instance, whoever is aggrieved can directly go to a ward councillor And if a ward councillor is not helpful, they will go to the local office either of SIFA or of SIDA, because the incubation facilities that are there are run in together with SIFA and SIDA, which are agencies of the small business development. We, for instance, are going to have a public outreach program on Monday. That program is driven by our department, is driven by the province, by the district municipality and the local municipality, to ensure that there is synergy and a common approach on how we deal with challenges faced by the small businesses. Not all people who work in municipalities or in departments have an attitude towards our people. The majority of civil servants and the majority of councillors, they are committed to serving our people. And there are those amongst the councillors and the civil servants who have crooked minds. So such individuals, you know, in society, you will never have 100% perfect society, but the majority are very helpful. And even in this regard, the system that is there, your local municipality, district, the province and national, we must work in collaboration. Once you move this collaborative approach, you are going to have those problems, because national government is not always there with the people every day, but the municipality is there with them every day. So we can't take it out. They must play a role. We must just change the mindset and ensure that there's positivity. There are best practices, for instance, in Morocco, which is above South Africa in terms of the ecosystem for small businesses. So definitely we need to interact with them. How are they doing it better than ourselves, so that we can also do it better? Not that we must compete with them, but we can work together and synergize our approach. Our belief and attitude is that the development of SMEs, or the growth of Africa, or the development of any economy for that matter, is not the sole responsibility of government, but we must work with other partners like GBR in that regard. And if we work together, we can succeed.
The program for infrastructure development in Africa, the IDA, a multi-sector program covering transport, energy, transboundary water courses and telecommunications, ICT, is dedicated to facilitating continental integration through improved regional infrastructure, and is designed to support the implementation of the African Union Abuja Treaty and the creation of the African Economic Community. Another example is the Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program, CANDP. This program is Africa's policy framework for agricultural transformation, wealth creation, food security and nutrition, economic growth and prosperity for all. In our region, SADC has also conceived and is implementing programs aimed at promoting development and regional as well as continental integration. The main tools to achieve this, just as in other regions, are the different protocols that were signed and entered into force. Thanks to this vision, political leadership, and enterprising spirit of our people, African economy has been achieving high growth rates. At the same time, our investment climate has faced challenges and is moving forward to become more and more attractive. We are aware of the challenges ahead, however. For example, the International Labour Organization states that in sub-Saharan Africa, the youth unemployment rate over around 12%, while this is slightly lower than the global youth unemployment rate of 2.4%. The African region has the world's highest rate of working poverty. That is to say, people who are employed but earn less than $2 a day. Working poverty rates among youth in South and Sub-Saharan Africa was nearly 70% in 2016, translating to 64.4 million working youth in this region living in extreme or moderate poverty. The number of poor working youth has increased by as much as 80% in the past 25 years, according to the International Labour Organization's World Employment and Social Outlook for 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, the few figures, challenges, and threats to Africa's development discussed above demonstrate that we should focus more and more on the youth. With 60% of Africa's population currently 24 years old and below, it is no surprise that at the dawn of our implementation of both Agenda 2063 and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, African heads of state and government have devoted the year of 2017 to harnessing the demographic dividend through investment in youth. Education and skills development in particular are instrumental tools to empower youth to enter the labor market. That includes expanding vocational training opportunities for skills acquisition for young people to enhance their employability, including self-employment, increased productivity and competitiveness as stated in the Continental Strategy for Technical, Vocational, Educational and Training. The ultimate purpose of education is to contribute to solving problems faced by society. Sometimes we find institutions saying that the solution against poverty, to fight poverty, is education. This is a simplistic way of putting it. Because education is not impartial. Education brings about, instills values. And if these values are contrary to the values of other interested parties in education, then education, seen that way, cannot help a lot. And we have a lot of experiences in our continent and in the other continents, even today. So education must serve a purpose. Education is an instrument that aims at helping, contributing to solve the problems society is facing. That's why, I repeat, the ultimate purpose of education is to contribute in solving problems faced by society. This takes us to the small, micro, and medium enterprises as the backbone to translate the potential of the youth into real growth and development. In this regard, it is pleasing to note that African countries are developing and are implementing policies and strategies that are gradually placing small, micro, and medium enterprises in the forefront of social and economic development.
فرح قد جاب خواطرنا حلم يطويه تخرجنا أيام الجد قضيناها وهنا الإنجاز يسامرنا فرح قد